seriously excited about this video. So this is the third one explaining what the hut is in a bit more detail, why we need to get outside it, what it looks like to get outside it, and why it is that Jesus turns up in new and unexpected ways when we join him out there for the sake of our friends and family, acquaintances and colleagues. I'm so excited about this video because yeah, there'll be bits of Bible in it, but I'm reading from my favorite book outside the Bible, which is called, listen to this, Roland Allen, that's the author, The Spontaneous Expansion of the Church and the Causes Which Hinder It. I mean, come on, what a title for a book. The Spontaneous Expansion of the Church and the Causes Which Hinder It. And what I'm going to do, because this is not novel, anything I've been showing over the last sort of few weeks, none of it's novel. I want to draw on the experience of missionaries, particularly in cross-cultural settings, which is so relevant to us today, because really the Christian faith is cross-cultural in this day and age. What we're talking about, the stories, the faith, even the practices, it's totally new and might even seem quite irrelevant, particularly to the next generation. So let me share 3 things from this book which have always blown my mind, always been so important, such good challenges and reminders about getting outside the hut. Number 1, what carries the conviction, as in the power of what we're saying, is the manifest disinterestedness of the speaker. Now that's odd language, isn't it? What do you mean disinterestedness? That we come across as if we're not interested, we're not passionate? No, what it means is we've clearly got no other agenda. Isn't that interesting? The problem is that when we only invite people to church, or if we only share our faith in a church environment, or when they come to our Exploring Christianity type course, or to our social event, or our turf in some way, they will always assume that there's another agenda. And of course we've got an agenda. We want them in the community of faith, but they don't see that yet as good news. I mean, what are they thinking? Probably they're trying to trap me. They're trying to win an argument. They're trying to push their view on me. They're trying to get me to do something I don't really want to do. So before they can see this as good news, they at least need to see that you have no other reason, as far as they can see it, to share this apart from you're their mate and you love them, and therefore you really want to tell them. I think that's so powerful. He speaks, he goes on, Roland Allen here. The person speaking does it from his heart because he's too eager to be able to refrain from speaking. Clearly his subject, Jesus, has gripped him, and he speaks of what he knows, and he knows by experience. We're not just giving information here, we're giving our truth. And the hearer realizes that. Inevitably, the person speaking about it is moved by it. And before the hearer, this is really important, has experienced the truth for themselves, they've shared the speaker's experience. That is so true when you hear from the missionaries, and we know this from experience, that before somebody believes what we're saying, what we want them to believe is, well, at least they believe what they're saying, and they believe it's in my best interest for me to listen and to hear. This stuff is so crucial, guys. That's why it's important to be outside the hut. Number 2, just building on that. To all this, Roland Allen says, is added the mysterious power of a secret. This Christian experience is always a secret, and the man who speaks of it to another always pays him a subtle compliment, and he entrusts it to his hearer, the secret of his life. Isn't that so true? That actually we're worried sometimes that what we're sharing with our friends isn't well prepared, it isn't well thought through. What if I get it wrong, and all those types of things? That's not what the person we're speaking to picks up on. In fact, Roland Allen goes on and says, but when this secret, as is often the case on the mission field, is dangerous, sharing it carries and compels attention. Think about it. Yes, it might not be dangerous to share your testimony with friends and families. It might be in some ways, physically, but it's more likely to be psychologically dangerous. It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be awkward. Might even put some tension in there, whatever. And we see that as a reason not to do it. What it's saying here is, no, the person you're speaking to will actually receive it as a compliment when they see how difficult it is for you to share your testimony. Sometimes we're worried, we think, I'm not faithful enough, and when I share my testimony, I stumble over it and I look all embarrassed, and that's surely going to affect the effectiveness of what I'm sharing. No, Actually, the pain you're clearly going through, as it says here, is paying them a compliment. And they see the pain of what you're showing. They can see that it's dangerous, and yet you're doing it anyway. That compels attention. Jesus honors that. Revelation 12 says we overcome the enemy by what? The blood of the Lamb. This is what Jesus has done. And by the word of our testimony, and by clearly not loving our lives so much as to even shrink back from death. Again, Jesus really honors it. It has a profound effect on the hearer when it's awkward, when it looks unprepared, when it looks spontaneous. So don't shrink back from that stuff, guys, and don't see it as a reason not to do it, but actually as a reason to do it, and why you're probably very good at it. And then the third one, and this is really important as well. When you express your truth, it exercises a profound effect. It renews us. I mean, come on, how many times after we shared our testimony do we feel more encouraged by our testimony? It's like it reminds us spiritually about the Lord's faithfulness. That's true. But then he goes on, he says, but as you set it before others, not only does it bring new light to you, but you pledge yourself to the conduct and life which it involves. Again, this stuff outside the hut is not about just giving information. It is about living it out. And the more we share our faith, particularly when it's uncomfortable, particularly when it's outside the hut among our friends and families, we are pledging ourselves to actually act as if that stuff is true. And that is so important. Often I think about the third commandment, do not take the Lord's name in vain. I think it's the third commandment. Again, I get this stuff wrong all the time. And often we think, as long as I don't say Jesus Christ, then I'm fulfilling the third commandment. That's wrong. It's not what it means at all. To carry the Lord's name in vain, to bear it in vain, is the literal language. And that's basically saying if people know what you stand for, if people know what you represent, they know that you are a Christian, they know that you go to church. Don't do that in vain. Represent him out and about. I think, and this is really important, coming back to it, this is why it is important to get information out there. This is why social media is good. This is why I'm encouraged by digital online stuff. That's great. And I send stuff to my friends. But again and again, I'm reminded that the gospel can not only go to the ends of the earth and the corners of our neighborhoods through information sharing. The gospel is supposed to be carried by people who demonstrate what it's like, who is that consistent godly friend and presence and trusted advisor and closed-mouthed friends in a world of gossip. And it's supposed to be carried by people who don't always find it easy to carry, but demonstrating to their hearer just how precious Jesus is to them, they do it anyway. They share it verbally anyway. They act differently when it's difficult to do it anyway. And all this stuff, Jesus anoints, he honors, and when we do it outside the hut on their turf, because it's harder, he's already there. He will support you, he will undergird you, and he will bless your friends and your family and your colleagues as well. I hope that stuff from Roland Allen has really blessed you. Lots of love. Speak soon.